One thing I've been pretty lucky with in my jiu-jitsu career is that I don't have many injuries. Well, not too many injuries. Most people aren't there trying to hurt their training partners, and I've had some great teammates. Unfortunately, some roles just don't go the way you want them to. Everybody gets to see my misery today.
As we dive into the role, the biggest issue I have to face is Gus's height. I'm a 5'7" short king on a good day, and Gus is like that alpha Chad over 7 feet tall. But I even the playing field by rolling him through, as I've noticed his weight was too far forward, and now his height doesn't mean that much. Well, actually that's a lie, because even on the mat, his limbs are going to make it difficult for me to do the same game plan I like to do to other people. Against long-limbed opponents, you have to worry about their overhooks because they can easily stretch you out and isolate your arms to put you into bad positions, and positions like lockdown when you're on top become a lot more dangerous as they can stretch your kneecap out at the same time. Currently, I'm dealing with both those issues because my leg is completely stretched out and Gus is starting to control my right shoulder, making it really difficult for me to establish strong chest-to-chest positioning. Instead of being stubborn and trying to push into his frames, I back out to stand and I notice he leaves his head too high, so he allows me to jump into a guillotine. I use my right foot to push my left leg free so I can go straight into mount, and once everything's locked up, it's a pretty standard Tyler team. It feels great to get a guillotine 1 minute into the video, but standing with him doesn't feel great. However, if something's not broken, don't fix it. He continued to push into me, which allowed me to do the exact same technique I did last time to bring him to the mat, and I'm in a similar position fighting in his half guard, but this time he opts for wrist control instead of locking up onto an overhook. One of the best things you can do to improve your jiu-jitsu is to stay tight, so naturally I break that rule as I spread myself out, giving Gus some space so he can work as well. In fact, I gave him so much space that he starts digging for a right side underhook and he gets a shoulder clamp on me, immediately compromising my position, and now I'm on the defense. When a direct descendant of a Viking is putting you into a shoulder clamp, the number one thing I need to do is create some distance. But Gus is well aware of that, so he brings his leg over my neck, making it tough for me to posture up, so I summon the wipeout energy within myself and spaz out just to push him off, and now I'm into a strong passing position. He attempts to frame against me with a knee shield, but I blast through that with a quick knee cut, and now I have to do my best to hold him down with my frail little body. One way of improving my top pressure is to be leading with my knee. That way I can push my head into their chin because I have a better angle on it, which apparently means nothing to Gus as he frames against me and I have to hop past his legs to maintain top side control. One great thing about length is because Gus is so long, he can have really strong frames, and he doesn't have to always keep his elbows pinned to the mat, he can also push me away, so I feel like I have to ride higher to make his arms useless, but even when I take mount, he's still able to push me away with his frames, and because I never got to establish my weight on mount, I have to disengage completely, otherwise get forced into a leg entanglement. Notice, however, I keep control over his top leg and I never allow him to re-shrimp in. If you control the top leg, you don't need to worry nearly as much about the re-guarding, and it allowed me to go straight into side control as I start to work on a north-south choke. But here's a spoiler alert. Gus gives zero craps about the submission attempt. I could probably count on one hand how many times I finished a north-south choke, and it's better just to bail here and go for something else instead.
Now while you guys continue to watch this amazing roll, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Factor. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever with their dietitian approved, fresh, never frozen meals delivered right to your doorstep. Factor's made it easier for me in my everyday life because I'm able to pick up a meal from the fridge, open it up, and place it in the microwave for only 2 minutes. With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons every week, you'll be able to taste the rainbow as you experience the food delivered by Factor. But what's even better is they also offer beverages. If you need a quick protein drink and you don't have time to be mixing something together, just grab it from the fridge, shake it up a little bit, and you're good to go. But the best part yet is what they're offering to you. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code SPANGLER50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code SPANGLER50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. Stay fueled with easy, nutritious options delivered to you by Factor.
Great, thanks for watching my ad. Now the only better deal than Factor is to watch this great submission. It's called the Guillotine. I lock it up and fall over the top, then force Gus to bend to my will by tapping. That's 2 guillotines in the books for me, but if you can't tell by the title of this video, Gus has some revenge ready. This time around, I decided to pull guard and we can see how Gus does his passing, and he's already locking up my calf with his right arm. I take my left hand and pull his tricep out, forcing his base to be compromised, and this allows me to roll on top. It's an interesting position where it's almost like asthma because I'm sitting directly on his chest, but I also have an easy entry where I can start working the saddle if I want to attack his legs. Gus also has options here where if he could get to turtle, he could try and hit a rolling knee bar on me. I sense that's the option he wants to go for, so I keep my weight back and I have my left leg planted on the floor so I have a strong base, and Gus switches it up by going into guard trying to throw on a triangle, then he quickly locks up a kimura and I'm going to have to fight the kimura trap. If their kimura is tight, which this one is, there's really no way to beat it. You're forced to roll to your back, but I am able to scoop up his leg and throw my leg in between us. He didn't maintain strong chest to back positioning, so I had enough of an opportunity where I could throw my legs in, and now I'm safe and I can start to free my own arm. Not only am I safe, but I also find a saddle entry where I can go onto Gus's right leg by shooting all the way through. It helped that I had his leg scooped the entire time, and I immediately throw him into double trouble. Once I can get to the leg waist, even if he's pulling my head, I just pull a little bit and get the tap. I'm not sure what dimension we're in where I decide to go to saddle to finish a submission, but it's good to switch up the arsenal every once in a while so it's not only guillotines for people. One thing I noticed throughout this roll with Gus is he leaves his weight way too far forward. Knowing he's trying so hard to drive into me allows me to go at the back door, and I end up on top in a similar spot to before where I could start entering immediately into the saddle. I'm able to figure four my legs underneath his butt. Then I need to pull his leg away so I can break his defense, but I also have a side mission where I need to collect his other leg. One thing that Gus does to try and defend his leg is he's trying to sit up into me and put weight onto his foot. Trusting my legs to keep control over his leg, I use my hands to push him back down to the mat so I can maintain top control. Gus spends some time deciding how he wants to defend, but he brings his other leg too close to me. I lock up the same leg waist as before, and I can pull on the knee to get a quick submission over Gus. Everything up to this point has been going really well for me. I have submissions, and then I make a huge mistake. I start falling on my side looking for the ankle guillotine, but I'm leaving my left leg exposed. I didn't realize I was getting set up for a calf slicer, and as he hits the submission, I let out a quick verbal tap, then 3 more taps. Now believe me when I say this, but that face, that's the face of being in pain. Now regardless of how compromised my leg is and the pain I'm still feeling today, I was determined to still finish this round. I show off my new and improved guard of pulling side control, and Gus immediately is going for his next submission. Without hesitation, he locks up a kimura, and I'm just in defensive position at this point. He gets some style points by jumping into the kimura, and I start rolling with him so I can prevent this lock while also being forced into an armbar, but thankfully I was saved by the bell. I'm glad that Gus rolled with me so we could have a great video, and now I'm off to rehab.